The death of a 22-year-old Mahsa Amini after arrest by Iran's religious police have sparked anti-hijab protests in several parts of its cities. Her death has caused widespread anger, demonstrations in Tehran and in Mashhad, the country's second-largest city. Yesterday, the protesters marched down Hijab Street or Headscarves Street in central Tehran, denouncing the morality police. Today, we take a look at the history of Iran's strict dress code for women, why its morality police is under fire. But before that, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Oneindia. Amini was reportedly detained for not wearing her hijab properly, which is a punishable offense in Iran. After her death, videos have gone viral on social media of a few female protesters chopping off their hair and burning their hijabs in protest against Iran's strict dress codes. Iranian rules require women over the age of 7 years to wear headscarves. It is mandatory for them to cover their hair and wear long, loose-fitting clothes. Offenders face public rebuke, fines or arrest if their clothing do not adhere to these norms. In Iran, the morality police, that has its units stationed across the nation, enforces these dress codes. Tight trousers, ripped jeans, clothes that expose the knees and brightly colored outfits are also prohibited. Let's now briefly understand the history of veils or hijabs in the country. In an effort to modernize his country, the first Pahlavi Shah had issued a decree prohibiting veiling in 1936. He had also mandated European-style hats for men back at those times. Then, after his exile, his son Mohammad Reza Pahlavi expanded on his secular, pro-Western stance. Gradually, anti-government activism gained traction in the 1970s, and many women deliberately adopted headscarves as a symbolic rejection of the ruling regime that was seen to be allying with the West. After the Islamic Revolution of 1978 to 79, Iran passed a mandatory hijab law in 1981. Article 638 of the Islamic Penal Code states that it is a crime for women to appear in public or on the streets without a hijab. After the Iranian Revolution, the state's efforts to impose and enforce hijab met with fierce opposition. In the weeks following the monarchy's demise, hints of a crackdown on women's dress sparked some of the first post-revolutionary protests, drawing thousands of women to the streets in March of 1979 to warn that the new leadership's imposition of headscarves threatened their rights. "There is an absence of freedom in the dawn of freedom," their slogan went. Despite this and other public protests, compulsory hijab became an essential feature of the post-revolutionary Iranian society, first by force and then by law. So essentially, women in the country have no choice but to abide by these rules. Reportedly, Iranian authorities are also mulling to use facial recognition technology in public transport to identify women who aren't properly following hijab rules. In July this year, on the National Hijab and Chastity Day, Iran saw widespread protests where women took to social media to remove their hijabs in public. Many also posted photos and videos of themselves not wearing hijabs in public transport. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi had also passed an order in July to enforce Iran's hijab and chastity law with new restrictions. Along with a crackdown on improper hijabs, the government also issued an order against wearing high heels and stockings. The order also made it mandatory for women to cover their necks and shoulders. Between all these chaos, there is perhaps a geopolitical angle as well. Mahsa Amini was a Kurdish belonging to Iran's western province of Kurdistan, which is one of the border districts of Iran. Kurdish make up 11 to 15% of Iran's population. Yet, Iran has long been accused of oppressing them. Kurds have seen many protests and clashes with the security forces and the Iranian regime. One of the major flashpoints of clashes between Iran's government and the Kurds is the fact that many Kurdish groups have sought an independent state for long. Kurds are largely considered both progressive and rebellious, often bringing them into confrontation with the Iranian regime. In several instances in the past, Iranian authorities have arrested many Kurdish activists, writers and students for minor violations and trumped-up charges. After Mahsa Amini's death, protests also broke out in the Kurdish region between the Kurds and the security forces, and 5 have been reported to be killed so far. This was all you needed to know about the anti-hijab protests going on in Iran. We hope you like this new video. Thank you for watching.
Subscribe to One India channel and never miss an update.